Good night, Barbados Labour Party family. I heard my brother Lovell spoke in glorious terms about my character. I don't want to refute anything that he has said. I want you to have and to share that goodwill with me. I'm going to take you on a different journey. Or I'm going to take you tonight into an important chapter on the eve of a general election. And I want to construct in my mind a narrative that is fundamentally different to the spicy and humorous delivery which my brother Lovell delivered before me. So I'm going to take you on a historic journey, and I will conclude with a historic imperative. Because history has a way of going through cycles, and the things that you saw before the first half of the 20th century is now glaring and vulgar in the face of Barbadians. And therefore, I want to help you to understand why this Barbados Labour Party at this historic juncture is fundamental to the future and the development of Barbados. So we have, as a political party, to reflect at intervals in order to project for the future. A few years ago, I met the present body of auctioneers and buffoons who now occupy the halls of Parliament as ministers. I did not know then that they were prepared to sell out. I did not know then that they would be involved in any injurious conduct. What I knew that there was a collective body of individuals who were friends. And they were led by an individual who said he was too young to have a political ideology. All human beings, conscious or unconscious or subconscious, possess a philosophical underpinning that is responsible for the values and the type of behavior that they exhibit. Thompson then said he had no political ideology. There are no body of concepts, comprehensive concepts in his mind that tell him how the future or suggest to him how the future ought to be. He could not even see or witness the wrongs of society and formulate in his mind a number of principles, policies, and programs that will help us to develop a just society. And that is why I want you, while you laugh and you smile and you fete and you go to karaoke and you eat ham and you keep Christmas trees for Christmas, if you want to get out of this dark state that you are in, black people got to get serious. That's where we are. We have seen a major retrogress step in the type of governance that we now have to endure and witness in this society. And you have to ask yourself why it is, or even tell people why it is, that Mayor Motley, and as Lovell said, my black Nubian sister, must be the first female Prime Minister of Barbados. You have to talk it. And I'm here tonight more so to speak about that and the way how women in this country allow this vulgar nonsense to continue, where black men, chauvinists in this country, believe they can go up and down, north and south, east and west, to discredit a woman who wants to hold high office in this land and deserve to hold it based on merit. I am not begging you to support Mayor Motley because she's a woman, but I want you to respect important principles, those principles with Thompson, who had all the effeminate qualities that a woman possesses, and all the effeminate qualities that George Pilgrim possessed. Thompson cannot have introspection, but George Pilgrim can. He knows very well what are the practices that he was involved in before and still involved in now that would make me come to that conclusion. But these men who are public relations officers for the Democratic Labour Party, who only can see women through the eyes that hold a narrow focus of the sacred parts of a woman as the only important organ on a woman's body that is worthy of consideration. And although they don't say it that way, a woman is a whore. She has no use, other use than to perform certain forms of domestic entertainment, whether it's cooking, serious business, whether it is in the bedroom, that you cannot see women other than to see women of some form of vulgar utility that men should abuse and sometimes pass on cash or misrepresent or trick women in order to have access to their bodies. So whenever they speak of you females, they always speak in those terms. And you allow it. They go on political, and it's not about me, about you know. It's about the women in this country. And about the struggles that women had to face in a social environment where people were poisoned with inequality and injustices. Where women must be in the back room. Where women must be secondary or inferior to men. Are you women walking about giving support to foolishness when you are supposed to be out there representing each other? I am a man and a real man, and I know that I have a responsibility to represent the women in this country as equal to any man. But you see, I also have other reflections. And as I said to you before, when I heard people saying that these men were worthy of consideration in the 2008 elections, I did not know, although I had had the opportunity to socialize and interact with these men, some of them at the University of the West Indies. But I believe when they recognize that a better life can be attained in post-victory, and they were able to do the things that they did and amass wealth, the greed within them was stipulated, and they had no concern for what means are necessary in order for us to achieve wealth. And that is how I then understood, as ignorant as I am, the importance of power tends to corrupt. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. I recognize that the Democratic Labour Party, who claimed that it fashioned itself off of Errol Walton Barrow, who was a Fabian socialist, that they felt that what was important is to allow the access of that party to be the paramountcy of the party itself. So they developed a DLP hegemony, all-powerful group of individuals, omnipotent types, who had no respect for law, no shame, talk about principles and talk about morality as the most immoral individuals in the entire world. And I heard these people saying that we walk in the image and the teachings of the democratic socialists called Errol Walton Barrow, another Fabian socialist. And the West African proverbs came to mind. When you put your feet in the river for the first time, the water you put your feet in on the second time is not the same as the first. And I could not understand that until I witnessed these demons, because everything that Barrow, the first time, the DLP, everything that Barrow did, all the speeches that Barrow made, these people who continue to use the label of the Democratic Labour Party, this modern day contemporary group called the Dems, are the most vicious, backward, and dishonest party in the entire Eastern Caribbean. We offer to you a party that stuck over the years to its groundings. Don't mind these nonsense thinkers on the radio programs and some of them in the churches that telling you history is not important. We need to start now and say what we're going to do in the future. It's like a man, you're tossing a man in the middle of the ocean and telling the man to swim. There's nothing on earth, including man, that does not have a history. And in order for you to establish him as man, you have to know the history of that living entity. In order to understand why a chair is called a chair, you have to understand the history of that chair. You can't describe it as a top with 4 legs, because you wouldn't be able to differentiate between a chair and a table. You go back to a dictionary. And the dictionary gives you an explanation based on its history. The Democratic Labour Party has abandoned the course of the original DLP's history, but this party has stuck to the course, and history will, in the end, be resolved, and Mayor Mortley will be redeemed, and she will become the Prime Minister of Barbados in 2018. There is no turning back for this political party. This party made the first black woman. You're talking about Grantley Adams. I draw my understanding of this party from Professor Gordon Lewis in Growth for the West Indies, in Current Thoughts. I developed my understanding of this party from a man called Arthur Lewis, who wrote on labor in the West Indies. I draw my understanding of the importance of this party as Sir Grantley Adams on the distinguished Barbadian historian of the time, not the white colonial historians who wrote for some of you, a man by the name of Hoyas, who live it. Why the people wanted Grantley Adams. Why the people wanted the Barbados Labour Party. They wanted the Barbados Labour Party in the post-1930s, and they want the Barbados Labour Party now. We're not walking about asking anybody for part of a fan club. We can rationalize and justify before you. And if you are soldiers or disciples of this party, you must not be ignorant to the history of this political party. There are lots of distortionists around. Said all kinds of things about Grantley Adams. But when Grantley Adams put this party together, just like you had fringe groups then, you got fringe groups now. People clunging around, telling people in papers, writing, and you got enough big pictures, 2 pages. A party that got 13 members. A party that, something they call a party, court, our court, had it David Gill, and some boy called Calendar. And he got in the papers and got a big write-up. There's an amalgamation between some name and some other name. They bring another youngster. And I already asked him, where is the fencing wire from around the community center in the Back Ivy? He has to bring to me. If you that live in the community don't know, he has to explain to me where that wire is, where he took it. All like now, he cannot be found. He was in the papers every day with Leonard Eastman, talking about integrity. All like now. Rich servers looking all in St. Lucie, in Pike Corner. These are the people that preaching integrity to you. What I'm saying to you, don't mind what these people say. You have to know their history in order to understand who they are. And since that history is not fixed in eternity, human beings' behaviors can change. And while you might be impressed by a good person involved in theatrics at an early stage of life and make you believe that they are decent and that they are somebody, And some of them might tell you they went to school at Queen's College. But I saw them walking on Browns Beach in high-heel shoes. So if you can extrapolate, well, then you will work me harder. Because it tells you what kind of human being it is. You can imagine Lynette Eastman campaigning in Cat's Castle. A woman who walked in 6-inch heels on Browns Beach. And when she started to rock and tumble and was about to fall, I held her and hold her shoes in my hand and said, don't walk on a beach in St. Michael's in her heel shoes or nowhere in the world. No, it wasn't the night. It was the May Day event, and Glenn Clark can testify to that. Now I'm saying this to you, because from very early we knew what we had to do as a party. When Grantley Adams recognized that the labor class, the working class, was not treated like human beings in Barbados, he mobilized the workers along with Hugh Springer, and he established the Barbados Workers' Union, the strongest workers' union for the labor class, and we mean the ordinary people in Barbados and probably in the Caribbean. Apart from Cipriani and all of those other people, Chris Ivan, all these other people in Guyana, but U.R. Butler, Grantley Adams organized the strongest workers' union in Barbados and broke the back of colonialism, working in collaboration with the newfound Barbados Labour Party. And that was the first time that black people had that level of ascendancy. And we are not going back there. I am watching it every day with these people who abandoned the track. We were on a clear trajectory of how we're going to transform this society. Grantley Adams recognized that there was a need for housing for the poor. Is that not the case now? When the Pulls and the Wilkinsons and the shipping and trading boys and the Walcotts was abusing and economically raping this society and relegating us to an inferior role in this country in general and in the mainstream of it, in governance. Grantley Adams, in tested, difficult times, took charge of things. And that's why I said the cycle must continue, the philosophy must continue to underpin this political party. And Mayor Motley knows that I am in this because I believe that she's the right person, the fit and proper person, with the kind of vision, with the kind of intellect, with the kind of compassion, with the kind of commitment to take this country into the future. I saw how black people treat Ermy Boone when Grantley Adams put her up as a candidate. Read the literature and you see what black women and black men was talking about a woman, a black woman, because of a lack of consciousness in the society. They were condemning her, but she made it. And I saw condemnation internally and externally. At the struggle of Mayor Motley to become the leader of this party and to become the Prime Minister of Barbados. I saw it, and I went in the forefront as an ordinary soldier in the trenches to make sure that it could not happen. And if I had to die to represent her, trust me, I would. I have seen Mayor Motley among the best of the educated elite, the best of the educated in the working class. I have seen her wrestling with socialists. I have seen her wrestling with conservatives, not only at the parochial level, but at the regional level and the international level, and she stood out. You don't know what you have. And I don't want any of you to ever make the mistake, especially at the level of your life, to regret and say, you never missed the water until the well ran dry. Mae Motley and you, because there's no great woman or great man thesis. That's how bogus historians and political scientists write the history over the years. No one man or one woman ever made history. But it's human nature, especially in the Caribbean, to throw up the maximum leader. And when you don't have the maximum leader, the collective falls. So we have had Errol Barra. We have had Grantley Adams. And to a lesser extent, Owen Arthur. And now, we are all alive, and we have the opportunity to make sure the first woman since black people were enslaved and brought into Western civilization. You really understand the importance of the value of Mae Motley in our lifetime, becoming Prime Minister of Barbados as a consequence of your endorsement. You really understand the importance of it? Now you have been in this country selling out everything. Building low-income houses for $24 million in the Grotto. $26 million in Valerie. The people who are building these houses don't look like you or me. It's the same type of people that we had to wrestle power from in the 1930s. And that's why I tell you what was happening then is still happening to us now. Poor people can't rent a house. In order for a government to win, a government offers, manipulate, and as well as mama guy. Manipulate black people and offer them houses. Take the burden off of them from maintaining the houses. And all, like now, 99% of the people who live in those houses, one good thing is they don't have to pay no more rent. But none of them has received, most of them has received the title deeds. Can't go overseas, can't date. If you're dead, you ain't got another passport or you got the title deeds. Can't borrow no money. You got ministers going to the same garage, carrying the government vehicles to one Transtect. And the same ministers go to the same place and drive away the same type of car the same day. Explain that. Explain that. The same two ministers who carry the vehicles from MTW, Transport Board, and Sanitation to the same mechanic shop owned by Lloyd Braffett. Put me in court if it is not true. Drove in the same two types of BMWs. Oh, this is coincidence? When I'm ignorant or when I'm real? Are you Homo sapien or some funny homo? This is reality. Homo sapien means thinking man. Thinking man. We can think. Same shop, same time, same owner, and having the same cars. And at the same time, retaining the cars that they had before. All 2 cars cost over $500,000. You're talking about a house? This corruption starts from day one. To win the 2008 election, they raped and murdered Clico. They raped and murdered Clico, the insurance company who all the poor people normally become policy holders in. And then Thompson tell you there's no problem at Clico. There are people who trying to cause a run on the insurance company. So people spreading rumor. Yes, they talk all of that. And people in this party are outside working for the money there and they get none. All of that happened when they had the oversight committee and Lane was given certain responsibilities over the people's money and instructed Clico not to issue any more policies in this country. They went and issued over 800 policies without taking a directive from an official officer of the government. And then they wrote a check. This is the only one that we know about, because in my view, when they went before the judiciary, all right, I know that this investigation is not thorough. We only know the $3.3 million that Clico and Paris forwarded to Thompson Associates, and Barra write back the check to Paris as legal fees. Paris, only thing he know about law is being an outlaw. I took the money. The court had to seize it. The court had to seize the $3.3 million. But Paris then went and filed 5 cases in the court, saying that Clico owed millions of dollars in gratuity. All that time, hundreds and thousands of Barbadians and people down through the OECS quarreling about what is happening to Clico. And Clico billing in Miami. Clico owned about 18 to 19 estates across Barbados. American life insurance collapsed as well, all on the Clico. And these pirates continue to abuse power, continue to rape the state. And all they know every minute, they got one new company called Rest Life. And every week here, you can get money from next week. You know if you don't pay, when there's a resolution? I thought the Rescue Life was that. It's a Revolution Life. And every week they tell the black people, you can get money from next week. But you know that if you stop playing all the time, this confusion going on, you can't stop paying your premiums. I heard my brother Arthur talk to you about corruption. If that is not enough to convince you that we got to get rid of these bandits, something wrong with you, then you are or you should be inmates of that place in Black Rock. You cannot be seen and allow these type of people to do the things that they're doing. You see how Morris King distanced himself from this? When they say that some of this money here for Morris King, not me, I do the work, but they don't put me there with that. That's what you have. They took up $998,000 and went down to Martins Bay, formed a company called Mafia. It sounds like Mafia. A company called Mafia. The half names, is a half name, they cut the names of the wives and fused them together. So who start off with M.A., that's the first piece. Who start off with F.A., that's the second piece. They put it together, Mafia. I went down in Martins Bay, I bought a house from Miss Wilson from the Huntsbury Road. for $998,000. They add all the two, because they want to get close to $1 million. Because they believe that if it's $1 million, black people holler for murder. But if it's $998, we know that I'm close to $1 million. It is the contempt. I'm serious. It is the contempt that these people hold for you. The belief that they are intelligent and that they are here to save us from destruction. And what we have witnessed over the last 9+ years has sold us. Those auctioneers sold us. And now you see them, Lovell, you talk about a house and the value of the house. I see men that had galvanized gates, got special gates that look like gold to me, with remote controls of when they're coming home and about 300 yards down the road. They know they're going to put on the gates, though, you know. If these people were conscious and militant as they ought to be, they will be opening the gates 2 miles before they get home. I hope that nobody is sneaking before they get there. But only in this passive country, people can do these things to you and impose all kinds of taxation on you. Quarter and say that 15% VAT was too high. And ours are getting 2.5% on the VAT. I want national social responsibility, NSRL levy, right? And then drop on a 10% levy at the port. Put it on top the CIF value. Put it on top the wholesale value. Put it on top the retail value. And pass it on to ordinary working class people who they call consumers. Nobody cares nothing about you as a human being, you know. You're a consumer. And if you can't eat, you will die. That is the attitude. I want you to understand. This chapter is rather short. This is a synopsis of all that you ought to hear. But I hope that you will help me to continue the chapters from here on. But this government is a corrupt government. And it has to go. Wherever they call it. They can't go past June. They can't go past June, not even if they get people to create a disturbance in the society and call it an emergency. They can't go any further. I am surprised at Fendel Short. Whenever it is called, I want to beg you to think. Don't get caught up in the distortions and the misrepresentation. Think. This is mere Amo Motley time. Mayor Motley must become Prime Minister of Barbados, and the Barbados Labour Party must hold the reins of power. I want you to give me all of my colleagues and give them back Mara Thompson.